why is this the intention of Islam? And also, once Islam actually does this, what do you think is the consequence for people living under the wing of Islam?
So for Muslims, mainstream Muslims, like I'd say 85, 90% of Muslims believe that there should be one caliph who rules over the Muslim world.
Hello and welcome back everybody to Christian Global Beat. Got another great video for you today. We're going to get an insider view from an ex-Muslim, now Christian, about the worldview of Islam and what it hopes to do and be. It's a great video, so let's go ahead and take a look.
And basically that means the idea would be for today, like from Morocco all the way to Indonesia, even if geographically they're separated and there's different rulers or presidents, they have to all follow this one caliph. And he's the individual that basically tells you what's moral, what's immoral, almost like a pope figure.
Before we get to the video, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification button so you can be notified every time I upload new content. If you'd like to support me and the channel financially, you can do that using Buy Me Coffee or Patreon down in the links below. All right, let's get to the video. Okay, to the people who don't know, I was introduced to this person right here, right in front of you guys, about 3 weeks ago. I saw him on Instagram, and the way I saw him is by correcting Islamic reels on Instagram. I saw this reel, and then his face popped up, and he said, "Oh no, this definitely doesn't say this." And then he gives you the verses. He's amazing, and of course, he converted from Islam to Christianity. And Ismail, I'm very excited to have you here. Very excited. So introduce yourself, brother.
Yeah, man, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm excited to be here, and I'm based in Canada. I do most of my work in North America, and sometimes I'll do some stuff in Europe. But basically, a lot of what I do, and I'm kind of surprised by how viral it's gone, is I just always see these like reels of Muslims saying like Abraham built the Kaaba, or it's just something just like ridiculous claims like Muhammad split the moon in half. And I'm just like, this is a quick Google search. It doesn't take that much effort to really disprove these claims. But no one is really doing it. Like, there's a few people here and there, but a lot of them don't actually even speak Arabic. So Muslims will just be like, oh, because they don't speak Arabic, doesn't matter what they say. They're not understanding it. Whereas for me, like, I'm fluent in Arabic. I grew up speaking Arabic. I just quoted to them in the Arabic. And it's kind of, I think that's why none of them debate me yet. It's because I speak the Arabic.
Do you think the reason why in the Muslim world people don't get to fact check a lot of the things that you just mentioned is because people try to keep research, like the Muslim scholars try to keep research away from the picture, and they try to, maintain it with just believe in it. Everything is happening. Like, where do you think it's stemming from? What do you think people believe these things?
I think so. Like before the internet, it was easy to do it because the only source you had was your imam, the mosque. The only source you had was community. And now because of the internet, people can research basically anything. And because of that, it's almost like people have to backtrack now and come up with really terrible excuses. And I think it's because of the nature of the religion itself. So the nature of the religion itself isn't based on a concept of that telling the truth or being honest is always the moral good. The moral good in Islam is to forward Islam. And so you can, in theory, be dishonest in order to forward Islam. And that's a whole other topic called taqiyya. And it's what Muslims do is basically, it's not like flat out lying. But for example, let's say as a Muslim, I was talking to a Jewish person. And then I could generally make up stuff and say, oh yeah, didn't you not know that like Muhammad was in the Torah and that you should be Jewish? You being Jewish should actually be a Muslim because Muhammad actually fulfilled all of Judaism, and the real Jerusalem is actually Mecca. And I can make that up in order to make you become a Muslim. And then once you become a Muslim, I can tell you the truth as to what I was doing. So this is not a concept that we have in like Western ideas, like you whether be Christian or Jewish or secular ideas. It's not, we don't do this where we just like, we kind of say this is what the thing is and you're allowed to accept it or reject it. Whereas in the Muslim psychology, it's not really about being honest. It's about forwarding the cause by any means necessary. And I think that's something that people in the West don't get. They don't understand that it is actually okay to lie in Islam.
Why do you think there's that will to promote Islam, to, for Islam to dominate other regions? First of all, in Islam, you don't even believe in the concept of a state, right? You don't believe in states or countries. You believe that Islam should cross all borders and that there should be a khalifa. Can you tell me more about this? Why is this the intention of Islam? And also, once Islam actually does this, what do you think is the consequence for people living under the wing of Islam?
So for Muslims, mainstream Muslims, like I'd say 85, 90% of Muslims believe that there should be one caliph who rules over the Muslim world. And basically that means the idea would be like from like for today, like from Morocco all the way to Indonesia, even if geographically they're separated and there's different rulers or presidents, they have to all follow this one caliph. And he's the individual that basically tells you what's moral, what's immoral, almost like a pope figure. The difference is, at least in modern times, the pope figure isn't also like the president who also is a dictator who can dictate everything. Where a caliph is not just a religious figure, he's also a dictator. He's able to basically, unless he goes against Islamic teaching, he's basically allowed to do whatever he wants. And that's the main goal, is because this is what Muhammad wanted to happen. He said there would be a caliph afterwards, and obviously Muslims disagree who it is. That's why there's Sunnis and Shias and all other different sects. But all of them do agree that there has to be someone who rules the Muslim world. And this actually is something that most people don't understand, is that right now there is no caliphate. There was trying to be one, was ISIS and all that stuff, but really the caliph ended in the 1920s with the Ottoman Empire. That was the last major caliphate. And Muslims are homeless now, especially Muslims who live in non-Muslim countries.
Sorry to interrupt here, guys. It's a great video. What do you think about what he's talking about? Are these things that you've heard about? Are these things that you know about? What do you think of the idea of a caliph? Go ahead and let me know in the comments.
They are eager to bring back this caliphate. And that's why we see back in 2014 to 2016, why were Muslim individuals who lived in Australia, like the United States, France, traveling to Syria to fight? It's because it is part of their religion to establish the caliphate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they saw it. They were like, I remember vividly here in Canada at a mosque when ISIS was happening, and I was still Muslim at the time, and they were saying that we can't really trust the news because we don't really know what's going on in Syria. Are they really beheading people? We don't know. We don't know. Maybe they're lying.
They documented the whole thing.
Right. They made it up. There was a little documentary they made. And I was just like, even my dad, who's like a religious Muslim, he's like, okay, yeah, we're not coming back to this mosque. This is weird. It's like, we're out. And it's just, they are able to justify horrific things in order to forward the cause. And it's just, I don't get it. I don't get how you can do it. And that's why I left when I was quite young. I was 16 years old when I left, because I saw that, and this might shock Muslims, but my morality at the age of 16 was somehow better than the Islamic morality, because I didn't believe that women were half of men, or I didn't believe that, I couldn't see how having multiple wives could ever be fair, or how can there be slavery, because slavery is a part of Islam, and it's not the type of slavery that you might find in other religions where it's been reformed. It's we're talking about very disgusting slavery, sex slavery, terrible things. And in my mind, I'm like, if this individual, this prophet, is the role model for mankind, and I, for some reason, am more moral than him at the age of 16, I don't think this religion has divine origin. It seems too human. And it goes back even, I'm going on a rant about this, but it goes even to the concept of heaven and hell. In the Quran's basically, it has a few stories that are copied from the Torah, and then tries to copy some stuff from the New Testament, and kind of really fails about it. But the main theme of the Quran is that there are winners and there are losers. The winners are those who obey Allah, they do charity, they fight jihad. The losers are those who are us, basically. We're not Muslim, and if the Muslims don't get us now, God's going to get us at the end of days. That's basically how it is. And it's almost like someone had a stream of consciousness and started writing it down, and then the hell aspect of it was so gruesome. Every chapter, I did a couple of weeks ago, I did a ChatGPT thing. I was like, how many times is hell mentioned in the Quran? And I think there's 114 chapters, and it's almost more than 300 times. So it's almost every chapter, it's mentioned at least twice, a threat of hell. So it's it's a fear tactic to keep you in line. Well, heaven's mentioned less than 100 times. So it's very much based on you staying in line, following the religion. And if you follow it, you'll have this paradise where it's basically a brothel. And then if you don't follow it, you burn with boiling water that doesn't it just doesn't end. So it sounds very human in origin. And so all these things kept coming up when I was researching it when I was a teenager, and I just couldn't believe it anymore because of that. I just couldn't believe that this is a moral individual I can follow. and I just had to leave it. And it was one of the hardest, but also one of the easiest things, because it was hard because I knew the repercussions, but it was easy because I knew it wasn't true anymore. So it was like I couldn't lie to myself. I couldn't. I mean, people asked me that before, like, why didn't you just like remain a Muslim and just secretly not believe it and just be like just like a regular Muslim who doesn't care about all this stuff? And I was like, yeah, but like I have one life on this earth. I don't want to live a lie my whole life. Like I want to be on my deathbed and be like, at least I did something. At least I like was able to stand up to this ideology that's crippling the world. And I would say this to anyone, that Islam is crippling the world.
Would you, first of all, I'm interested to know about your childhood. When you, growing up, were you said that at 16 you decided, but did your idea of Islam started crumbling before the age of 6? Like, was it a gradual thing, or what was it exactly? And also, I am interested to know about your childhood and what was it like growing up as a Muslim in Egypt, you said, right?
Yeah, most of my childhood I was in Egypt.
How's your English so well?
Oh, my mom's Canadian. So my dad's from Egypt, my mom's Canadian.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
I spoke both languages like just out of the womb, I guess. You kind of just talk like that. So yeah. But it was okay, I'll go from the beginning. So I was born in Canada, and then age of 5 we moved back to Egypt because my dad wanted me to learn Arabic, learn the Quran, and I went to an American school there in Egypt, and all the teachers were like American, and then all the students were like Middle Eastern. And even in the secular as much as you can in Egypt school, there was still a huge divide between the teachers and like the students. A good example of this was I think it was the last year I was in the school in the United States. Nationwide, gay marriage became legal, right? And no matter what anyone believes about gay marriage, like I don't think anyone thinks who's rational that you should kill someone just for being homosexual. Right, guys? Like we're on this. Like no one's going to. That's not a rational belief to have. You can disagree with people's lives, but like you should never harm anyone.
We can disagree on many, many things, but the fact that we can sit here and have peaceful conversation about ideas, about thoughts, about different events that happen throughout history, that's what brings the world to a better place. These kinds of conversations. So I really appreciate the conversation, Ismail.
Of course, man. I appreciate it, bro.
If you'd
All right, guys, we'll stop the video right there. Great video. This young man has a great testimony. I love to hear what he has to say from a lifelong Muslim, a lifelong practitioner of Islam, what the Islamic beliefs are, so that we can get an understanding of it. Like he said, a lot of people in the West just don't get Islam. We don't understand what it is. We don't understand what it wants to achieve. We project our thoughts and morality onto it. And quite frankly, Islam has nothing to do with Western thought or morality. And I think you get a good look of that here. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank this young man, Ismail. I want to raise him up, and all of the other Muslims coming out of Islam and into Christianity, into the loving arms of Jesus Christ and all of his new brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ. I want to thank you guys for watching. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, amen.